So I promised you in the last video that we're gonna create our own gate program. So that's what we're gonna do today. Hello and welcome to another Solana tutorial. Today we're gonna build our own gate program for token ACL, the access control list thingy. Cause there's the regular token ACL gate, or what is it called? ABL? So an implementation for a program that handles the whitelisting and blacklisting. And for context, it's important that you actually do watch the previous video because otherwise none of this makes sense. So we first need to understand what token access control lists are, and then we can build our own gate program. Because the gate program, that's the one that is responsible for deciding whether or not a token account can be permissionlessly thawed or frozen. So it handles all of the deciding logic. The interface is given by token ACL. That program exists and you should not change that. But if you need custom functionality for your whitelist or blacklist, or you want to do it in some other kind of way, how you deciding who can and cannot use your token, then you might want to implement your own program as the gate program. And so then the token ACL program that has the freeze and thaw authority over the token accounts of your mint, that thing will call your gate program. And the gate program decides by succeeding or failing an instruction. That's the decision point that is done through CPI. So the gate program decides, and then the actual token ACL program does the actual unfreeze because it has the authority for doing that. And we're not going to touch token ACL. We're just going to touch the gate program and build our own version of it, such that we can add custom functionality, which is something you might want to do or not. Maybe you want to just do it as an exercise. Maybe we just do that for better understanding how it all works, and that's fair enough. We're here to learn, so let's implement our own version of the ACL gate program. So there was token ACL, that's the program, the actual implementation of this SRFC 37, this permission token standard for enabling allowed block lists, and that program is live on mainnet. And that's basically the structure. That's the program taking the authority as written here. It manages the freeze authority and it provides that interface to the gate program via the TVL. TVL, by the way, another topic that we already had a look at when we talked about transfer hooks, because that's the same here, just we're not using it for transfer hooks, we're using it for ACL to gate program. And as with transfer hooks, it also de-escalates the permissions, so we can't do weird stuff in the gate program. But we're not gonna do weird stuff, we're just gonna implement our own gate program. There is the ACL gate, which is an implementation of this allow block list. That's where the ABL comes from. So the ACL gate is an ABL implementation, which is not confusing at all. So that provides the actual ABL system for token access control. And the interesting thing that we need to implement is the can thaw permissionless or can freeze permissionless instruction according to the specification. And this program is already implemented in Pinocchio, so why would I make it difficult for myself and re-implement everything from scratch? I think I'm gonna make it easy for myself and I'm gonna take that program as my base and then make the changes for doing the things that I want to do. So maybe I should already tell you what my plan is, what I actually want to do, because in most cases you will be fine working with those modes where you can use block lists, where everybody is allowed except for the addresses on the block list. You can use allow mode where everyone is blocked except for the wallets on your list, or allow only non-PDAs with the feature that you can also have specific PDAs added to an allow list. And that program basically handles that. It does the list management, where you can add lists, delete lists, create lists, and you can combine those. You can have a block and allow list. So for most people, this will be fine, right? That's what you usually want to do. You want to be able to block some or allow some specific wallets. But maybe you have a very specific use case where you want to do something very specific. Or you have a much more trivial use case where you don't want to have to provide the lists and create all of those accounts for those addresses. Or maybe your use case is really so simple that you don't need this, that you don't want to handle all the lists. Or maybe your decision point comes from something else than the wallets themselves. Maybe you want it to be gated with an NFT, for instance. Only if the user holds a certain NFT do they get to use that other token. Stuff like that. Then you need custom functionality. So that's what we're going to implement today. And the thing with the NFT is actually a really nice example, but I think we're going to start much simpler and we're going to really just make only Andy's wallets be able to use that token. And my definition for Andy's wallet is any wallet that starts with Andy in the base 58 encoding of the address. That's what we're gonna do. Yeah, that's what I want. I want to have a gate program that allows permissionless thaw of token accounts that belong to an address that starts with Andy. That's it. That's what I want. Yes. So that's what we're gonna build today, just as a reference for you to better understand how this gate program works, and then maybe we will add more features like the one with the NFT later. The focus really here is understanding this program such that you can build your own functionality, because building the functionality you'll manage. I just want to help you with the integration to token ACL. Okay, so with that, we're gonna clone this. I'm gonna clone token ACL gate and then open this, and we will see Rust analyzer not liking this. We don't have this toolchain. Then we install it. Fine. Does it help? That looks better. Cool. Good. So the gate program, we will of course have a different address. Let's start with that. Starts with gate. Let's see. G is a good letter to start with. I would like my gate or something like that, but M is a bad letter. G is better. Gate. Yeah, let's just see what comes out here. How about that? Andy's gate. Let's do this. A is also a good letter, but that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. We even managed to get an A gate. Amazing. So that's what we're gonna use. And then of course, we will need wallets that start with Andy. Give me like a few of those, because those will be the only ones that can actually use this token. Speaking of token, a token. That's gonna be the token. And then I'm just gonna get myself a def as well. Def C, that's the one. That's gonna be my developer authority that I will set as my key. There we go. And then add this such that we can use it from anywhere. Boom. And Solana airdrop, which won't work, but that's what we have the faucet for. Okay, now I hope I used the right address. Yes. Good. Setup done. What's next? Let's see if that thing builds as it is. So cargo build SPF. Oi, errors. This is not good. Target is not supported. Why do we get random? We have some dependency issues again. And build SPF should use the Solana Rust crates, right? You know what? I'm just gonna vibe code my way out of this. Yeah, why are we including get random? Okay, what's your diagnosis? The gate program has token ACL, has SPL token, has Solana CK, has get random. Yeah, now you know. This sounds like a bit of a hack, but I'm willing to just do it. Add this to the cargo toml in program. Okay, and then somewhere we register if we're on Solana, unsupported get random, and we throw an error. So this will never be called. We're not doing CK proof stuff. We just gotta do that somewhere. Ignore it, okay? This is gonna just be ignored, okay? There we go. Next stupid thing. Mismatched types. See, that's the problem if we have so many dependencies. Do we even need so many dependencies? Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Okay, either I'm gonna vibe code my way out of this and let Claude just take over and fix all of that, or I need to make it simpler for myself. How can I make it simpler for myself? By, instead of making the big program work, just remove all the things that I don't need. So, okay, let's try this. Different strategy. First, we just throw out all the stuff that we don't really need. Pinocchio, we can have that. Pinocchio pubkey, we can have that. But let's go through our dependencies. Let's forget that again for a second. SPL TVL account resolution and token ACL interface. That it does seem important though that we have those. So I can't even get rid of them. Quick question, what does the workspace true mean? So we have the same version as in our workspace. Okay. So taking it from the workspace means it takes what we defined here, this workspace dependencies. So those are the versions that we take. Doesn't mean that it's local, because that's what I first thought it could be, that I need to have them local in my local workspace, but no, that's not what it means. Okay, feature no entry point seems fine. I can't really strip that further. I think I do need all of those things because we need the setup freeze, extra metas and that stuff. We will need that. Although actually, if in our first attempt we make that program so simple that it literally ignores everything and it's just checking the incoming wallet, then maybe I don't need those. But the setup extra metas, it's a good question. The setup extra metas, that's on the gate. We call that on the gate to set up which accounts we need. And that's just the standard token ACL follows. So if there's not a PDA there, then I think token ACL will already complain. So I guess I do need that. We don't need all of the list handling. This stuff we can ignore, but we need the can thaw permissionless and the can freeze permissionless, or we just allow the thaw, whatever. But if we allow both, then we need those two, and we also need those two, I'm pretty sure. So where did we define all of the discriminators? In instructions. That's the instruction list. And those are the important ones, the can freeze and can thaw. This program uses 1-byte instruction discriminators. The token ACL interface defines an 8-byte discriminator, where this is the first byte. Interesting. And here the same thing. This program uses 1 byte. The token ACL interface defines an 8-byte discriminator, where 0x0 is the first byte. So token ACL uses 8 bytes, and I guess the first byte is 8 and then the rest is 0, and here the first byte is 214 and the rest is 0, I guess. And the lower instructions, those are just mine, and I don't need those actually, except for the setup extra metas. Maybe we do need those. The question is, if we don't have that, what went wrong if we didn't have that account, the one with the extra metas? Does the program then just get called? I think I'm gonna try it. I think I'm gonna try and see what happens if I delete all of those instructions and just keep the can thaw permissionless and can freeze permissionless. We'll see. I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot with that, but we're just playing. Let's see what happens. So those are the only ones we use. We're not even gonna set them up. We don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this. Bye-bye. We don't need that no more. Bye-bye. We don't need that no more. Bye-bye. All of the state stuff, I don't think we need any of that. A wallet entry, nope, we don't need any of that. Bye-bye. So there are helper functions with load extension. Gonna leave those. This ABL error, invalid account data and so on, gonna leave it. Oh, actually, that's my errors, actually. That's my own errors. Fine, cool, great, actually. So that's also not a dependency issue. Now, what happens if I throw out a bunch of our dependencies like that? Then we have a lot of red, no mode. Now, the can thaw permissionless, we're gonna keep that it has to have the immutable owner extension. And we don't actually need the remaining accounts, right? Because we're not gonna use any additional accounts. Otherwise, you know, it's all here. You just have to get the dependencies to work. But I'm just gonna be like checking wallet and then the authority key. And then we're gonna do our ugly implementation. So basically here we're now just saying if the authority key, which has which type, that's a pub key, starts with, but we're working on bytes here, and I wanna work on the base 58 though. So I need a pub key. What do you have? I need to base 58 it myself. That's stupid. I mean, it is inefficient, right? That's why Pinocchio doesn't have that. You don't want to work with strings. But we do have Solana pub key actually in this workspace, so we can use its display. Actually, that's a good idea. Let's use that. Is that a Solana pub key? Because this thing doesn't have a toString, right? No. But if we put that key in here, make it a Solana pub key, then it should have a toString. Now I put that here and say, wait, does this work? Hold on, this doesn't seem to work. Oh, because we don't have that? Failed to resolve. But do we have it? Nope, we don't have it. Because we're being efficient here. Oh, efficiency. Didn't we have it as a dependency here? Yeah, we do, look. Should just also add that, and then I can maybe import that, which is now called address. Of course it is. Implement but not in scope. Man, I've been wipe coding so much that I don't know how to program anymore. Okay, you know what to do. Check if the address authority address starts with Andy. And if it does, we do okay. So for now, we allow anyone. That's the simplest program that you could possibly do. And since we don't validate list anymore, we don't need all of that shit. And the gate program gets called with the authority, the token account, the mint, the owner, the flag account, the extra matters, which we also don't need. And any remaining accounts that is part, and the remaining accounts in that example are pairs because the extra matters define it like that. But actually, I don't need any of that. I'm gonna keep it in there for now, but let's just use that. And actually, I think I'm also just gonna do the thaw. I don't want to do the double with the freeze as well, so I'm gonna ignore the freeze. And the setup extra matters, do we need that? Because I don't want any additional accounts. Just gonna see what happens if we don't have that. We don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that, we don't need that. Where do we use the mode? I have no idea. Probably we don't need that. Let's see. So, where else? Can freeze permissionless we killed, so go away. Actually, also that. Well, I'll keep it for now. Maybe we need it. We'll see. Okay, now it's very minimal. Like I threw out a lot of stuff. I just allow the can thaw permissionless, and all that does is say okay for now. It's checking that wallet and then it says okay. That should be simple enough. Do we still have dependencies? Yeah, we do have dependency stuff going on here. But actually we're relatively self-contained. We don't even need the pub key. I don't think any of those are my problem. Hold on. What if I go into program and cargo build SBF here? Is that the same? Because here we have way fewer dependencies. That's probably a smart idea. Just build the program, not the entire workspace. Should have done that earlier already. But that looks good because the program actually builds. Oh, whew. Good. I don't actually need more. Because with a building program, we have the deploy here. Great. Now we're gonna copy from keys the, what do we call it? A gate. The A gate to the target deploy key pair such that it deploys with that actual address. And then, I think we just gotta deploy this program and see what goes wrong, because a lot of things will go wrong. But I'm just gonna risk it. This is the simplest gate program that you could possibly do, which is not a gate program. It's literally an open fence, doors open. It's not a gate. But yeah, let's deploy this. Not a gate program with Solana program deploy the target deploy thingy thing. Let's go. I just like to work on DevNet because fun. Cool. Deployed. Let's go through the whole process with the token stuff. And because we haven't done it, let's use the CLI. Here we have this guide that also has the command line interface. I think that's what we're gonna play with today. So gonna install that. It's like SBL token, just it's the token ACL stuff. That has a bunch of dependencies, but I hope that will just install without any issues. I am very confident. See, that's probably why it needs all of the dependencies and stuff. Looking good so far. And token ACL CLI installed. Great. So we have token ACL CLI, wonderful, in this version. Perfect. What do you have? Here we have a bunch of, not that many actually, but all the important commands that we will need. Okay, before we can do that though, we need a token. So let's go ahead and create a token with SBL token. Create token. We will need to use the program 2022. How was that spelled? Like this. And we will definitely need to have the default account state extension. Actually, let me quickly check there. That's how you use it. Default account state, which we set to frozen. So we will do this with frozen, and that will probably also need to enable freeze, because otherwise we can't do default frozen if we don't have a freeze authority. And I think that's the minimal setup that we need. We can still define decimals or whatever, or add the metadata such that it then automatically finds the correct gate program. But that's topic for another time. I think we stay minimal again and just do this. And I also wanted to use the specific key, the A token. There you go. Cool. A token created under token C with default account state. Cool. That's just the basics. That's just creating the token. So we have a token on DevNet, nothing special. Okay. Now for token ACL, how do we then work with this? So those are commands. Create a token ACL config. That's what we gotta do first. Okay. So we create config, which takes the mint. You can specify the freeze authority, and I think we need to specify the gating program. So let's do G for gate and put in my gate program. So that would be this thing as the gate program, and the mint, that was the one we created up here, the ATOC. Nope, that's not how it works. Error, unable to get metadata. An account's data contents was invalid. It wants to get metadata. Maybe this requires, or the CLI wants to do it the clean way and add metadata. Let me just quickly check if I create another token with metadata, enable metadata there. The mint authority must initialize the metadata. Okay, so let's enable metadata as well for a new token. And then just for fun, also run this test token just.test, just our test, just.test, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just a test token. But look, this one, contrary to my other one, this one actually has metadata now. So it has also a metadata pointer that points to itself. And now if I were to use this one to create a config, that would work. So because what it actually does is it creates the config. That's what we know from last time. And then it also does an update token metadata field where it writes the token ACL field into the metadata, and the value is the gate program. Yes, such that helpers know how to call the permissionless Thor automatically. That's why we write that in the metadata field. That's why the CLI has that implemented, that it adds that as well. Okay, so we note that if we do that with CLI, then we need to have the metadata extension enabled on the mint, and now we don't have a vanity address, but that's fine. We just take the 5 as our test token. Fine, let's just work with this one. Why not? I don't want to do it again. But I could, of course, if I wanted a vanity address, whatever. But now we also see that the freeze authority has changed. It's not the def anymore. It's actually this guy, this gay guy. And this, non-surprisingly, is a PDA of the token ACL program. So the token ACL program is now able to unfreeze, but it only does that when the gate program says that it's okay, because that's how it's implemented. Ha! Okay, cool. Then let's see. For that to actually work, we need to enable the permissionless thaw, and we don't want to enable freeze, so let's do that, because we don't even have freeze implemented. And this could now already fail if it's already doing something with a token program and setting the extra metas and stuff. This could already be an issue now, but we will just try calling this on our mint. No, that's the config. This is the mint, and see what happens. Oh, it's token ACL CLI. Hey, that worked. Perfect. Cool. What did it do? It just called the toggle permissionless instructions and set the thaw enabled to true. Okay, perfect. That's all it did. It didn't do anything on the gate. Just for this mint config, that is also the freeze authority on the token. It's now thaw enabled. Wonderful. I love it. And the next step, now that we have it enabled, we can actually do the thaw permissionless for a token account. Or do it all at once, create ATA and thaw permissionless. Why not actually? Let's try that. What could possibly go wrong? So for the token ACL CLI, create ATA and thaw permissionless. What you need? Mint and owner. And we can specify a payer. Yeah. Okay, mint and owner. We got it. So mint, that was my 5, this one. And owner, that I'm gonna do myself. So for now, my Solana address, this one. Make it bigger for you, and that, but that doesn't work because create ATA and thaw permissionless, missing extra account meta. Yes, dang it. Because the CLI obviously wants to find the right account metas because it needs to put the right accounts in there. But because the CLI also basically expects that we're using extra metas, because that's the standard, because the ABL gate does that. And it's probably going to be the same if I do first an SPL token create account for this mint, then this is my account, which will be per default frozen. Yep, frozen, but it has immutable owner per default because ATA created it. And the Thor permissionless will probably have the exact same problem. So even if I say Thor permissionless for this mint and this token account, the one that we just created here, the argument mint cannot be used with token account. Okay, so either that or that. Fine. So just the mint would probably unfreeze my token account. No, mint would also need the owner. Okay, fine. So then let's do it the other way around. Let's just do token account, because from the token account, it will know the owner. There we go. But we panic because we're again missing the extra account matters. Oh well, here we even panic. It's not even caught that error. Right. So either we need to add the functionality to our token gate program to allow the extra matters, or we do a quick hack and just don't add those accounts. But I think the cleaner way would be to allow this one here, allow the setup extra matters and do that. So let's get that back. And that's where we need the interface again. Get extra matters. There it's encoding the stuff for what it needs. So the first one is the list. Then we have a PDA, the wallet, the index, the account, token account owner. So basically that's the two matters that it takes. And we don't need any of that. Just need 0. So really you could just return that with 0 and 0. There you go. That's safe. Or maybe not. Let's leave it like that. It at least compiles. Okay. So per list, it needs 2 accounts. For us, it's actually very simple. We don't have lists, so it's 2 times 0, which should really also be 0, but I'll leave it in there. So, okay, let's go through it. Up there, it does some checks. I think I need to import that here to have it. Yep, that helps. So I put the token ACL interface in here such that I can use those. The seeds, I'll just use the same ones as the token ACL interface defines, because that makes sense. Because it's the token ACL program giving those. That's not a ABL specific thing. And why can't you resolve this? I guess I'll also import that in my programs cargo toml here. Then hopefully I have this. Yes, okay, great. We'll see if we get dependency issues. For now, whatever. Then it wants to load the mint config from token ACL, which it also doesn't have. Token ACL. I don't like this. Adding so many dependencies, because that will mess with things. We'll see. Okay, then we have that as well. Okay, cool. So great. Up there in the setup extra matters, it just checks the accounts that it gets, you know, from the authority to the mint config to the actual gate program, that the gate program that we get is actually our ID. That must check out as well. So that's all safe. Like, that's all good that we do these checks. And then remaining accounts larger 5, that is not right anymore, because we get those accounts, all of those, and then the remaining accounts, I don't actually need them. I basically just need 1, which is the, oh no, greater than 5. Yeah, so that's fine. So it takes up to 1. There's not even a minimum. Okay, great. But I just need 1. I'm not gonna work with lists. Here it checks all of the list accounts in remaining accounts if it's owned by this, but I don't need that. We're not using list. And now, oh wait, the extra matters is already one of the accounts. Oh, the extra matters is already one of the accounts. Okay, then I need 0 actually. Then I need 0 remaining accounts. I'm gonna hard code it. I don't want remaining accounts. Or I play it safe, and whatever you put in here, I'm gonna ignore it anyway. So if you wanna put whatever other accounts in here, fine. But no, the cleaner way would be to say we need no accounts. So I could also save that, but I'll leave it here, whatever. So then we check the extra matters, that it's owned by us, and then we resize it, and then we transfer lamperts. I keep that logic. And otherwise we create the account. Wait, that's when what happens? If it's owned by us, and if it's not owned by us. So if it's doesn't exist yet, basically, if it's owned by the system program, then we create that account. Oh, that's also smart. I like that logic. Cool. And then we, you know, transfer, allocate, and assign the classic, because we're not doing create account, allow prefund. And yeah, like that, we should get extra matters. We don't have a list slice, but we don't need a list slice. We literally have matters and length, extra account matters. What does that do? On thaw, init can thaw permission, less instruction, and on freeze the other thing. And all that does is check the discriminator and say okay. So can thaw permissionless. Oh wait, no, here we actually put accounts, the signer, the token account, the mint, and the flag account. Ah, it does use the flag account. That flag account does go to the gate program, and it uses those discriminators. I'm not sure if the efficient allow block list standard is what I want, because that's the ABL. Those I could give different names. Here it's using the 8-byte. So is that given? Is that given through ABL, or is that something I said? For now, let's just keep it the same, even though I don't think that I want to keep that the same for my stuff. But we will see. And we are at the point where I guess let's just try and build this again and hope that we don't get any conflicts. Looking good, good, and yes. Warnings, gonna ignore warnings, because yeah, that's true. I can also just ignore that. But that's fine. Wait, you're telling me that this entire path is never used? Whatever. You're telling me that process is never used? Oh, right. Because I didn't enable it in here. No, I did. Hold on. Set up extra matters, process for the thaw. Maybe I deleted too much, but no, it should be all here. Maybe I deleted it from here. Where did I delete that from? Yeah, now that I save it, you can't find it anymore. Import. Okay. So set up extra matters. I'm importing that extra now. And does it then say that it's actually using it? Yeah, now the process looks like it's actually being used. Okay, perfect. And therefore that is also always used. So let's check that again. Then I don't have those warnings anymore. Cool. Yeah, I know I don't need mute here. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, deploy this. Solana program deploy, target deploy, sha-la-la-la. Let's go. So my ABL gate program, well, my open fence program does have this setup extra matters, but I don't think the token ACL or even the token ABL has functions to create that account. Or maybe the create config would do it. No, I also don't think so. So I think the creating of the extra matters account is still a manual thing, like the setup extra matters. Wait. I just saw something. And I think I'm just gonna build that manually real quick, just so I really understand what's happening. So what we are going to do is to create a simple kit script where we build a transaction that has one instruction to my gate program, and I just want to call the setup extra matters instruction that has discriminator 4. So basically here have discriminator 4, and then the correct accounts, which is authority, payer, token ACL, mint config, mint, and extra matters. So number 1 is the authority. Hold on, that's my payer, address, role, writable, signer probably, because it's an authority. The payer, so that's authority, payer, mint config, mint, and extra matters. Payer is the same. Then the mint config, that was, if we check our mint, that's the current freeze authority. And because I'm lazy, I'm just gonna hard code this. There are functions how we can derive this if we get the token ACL package and everything. We did this in the previous video, just check that. The mint itself is this, and the extra matters. Now this is the important part. How was this derived? Find thaw extra matters account PDA, and we could import that. Yeah, actually, why not? Let's import that. I want this, so I need the token ACL SDK. We're gonna add that. So we're gonna add that. Voila. And then we can import from token ACL SDK, hopefully this thing. There we go. Easy. So our extra matters PDA is gonna be this thing. I'm gonna put the mint up here and then recycle it down there. So for this mint, and important that we don't forget this, because this is super relevant right now. I need to put it for my gate program, this thing. should be my gate program. And I want to derive it for my gate program, not the ABL as they're doing here, because we're using a different gate program. So it's a PDA of my gate program. So let's see it, what that address is, and if we can actually do this. This is still gay. Actually, now that we already imported that, might as well find mint config PDA also through this. Mint config PDA. What does that need? Also just the mint and the program address. But the program address here is not my gate program. It's the token ACL. So I think I can just leave it out and it will be fine. But we're gonna double check by also logging this one, just so we know that we're putting the right thing here. I need to await this and then just get the PD and also here just the A. Okay, we're not using the extra metas yet. Oh yeah, I need to still copy them down here. Good. And now, like, this should actually, hopefully, let's see if that works. I mean, I'm like 50-50 on this, but let's go with the kit npx tsx create extra metas for my custom gate. Yeah, whatever. And we have an error. No such, oh, I have a space here. That's an easy error to fix. And no, I mean, it does come up with the correct address for the mint config PDA. And this is apparently my extra metas PDA, but now I'm getting a Solana error transaction signatures missing. Okay, that's simple as well, because we're creating an instruction that has a signer, or actually, hold on. The PDAs, first of all, they shouldn't sign. And my payer, since it's a fee payer, it is as a signer, but the PDAs, obviously, the mint config is even just read only. The mint itself should also be read only. The extra metas I leave as writable, but not a signer. Okay, and like this, looking better. It's getting invoked, but then we fail with custom program error 3. And that is my gate program that it's failing now. Let's see what that error is by checking the actual errors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not enough accounts. Hold my beer. When do we do this? At the setup extra metas here. What is here? If we have let authority payer remaining accounts at accounts. You know what? I don't need the remaining accounts. Screw that. No need for remaining accounts. Oh, hold on. But we do need the system program, I just see. Authority, payer, mint, extra, and system program. Okay, hold on. Then wait, let's just leave it like that and see, because it could be that that just means it takes any. Possibly that issue is just that we need to add the system program. Obviously it's read only. Would that fix it? Yeah! Hold on. Check this out. We have a transaction that we just sent to our A gate, and basically what it does is it transfers, allocates, and assigns this account, which should be my token metas thing, extra metas thingy. So now we created this. I don't take any extra metas, right? This is basically empty. It has the TVL, so it's not actually empty. We have, we have the discriminator, and we have whatever that means. That 4 bytes, which is probably a length. So this is probably a length of the data, and that is probably the data, and that probably encodes the length of the array, and the array has length 0. So basically we encode that we have 0 accounts in here. We already did a deep dive on TVL if you're interested, if you want to understand what that means. But yeah, we're basically saying we need 0 accounts. So with that set up, coming back to here, and my lovely little attempt to thaw permissionless, you think that's now gonna work? Yes, it does. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? Yeah, look at this. We got a transaction through. This makes me so happy if stuff works. Where we call the thaw permissionless on the token ACL program, which then calls our gate program with all those accounts, including the extra metas, but no additional accounts. That's fine. it uses this. Is that the same thing as on here? Quick 8F, F1, 808. That's the same thing as what's written in here. The 8AF F1 that is written in there is actually also the instruction data that we put in. Funny. Do I need to understand why? No. But that's probably a reason for that. But anyway, this thing then gives the okay, hey, it's fine, you can thaw this. And then it does actually thaw that account. So now my token account, which is this one, should not be frozen. No, it's initialized. Great! Because that means now I can finally SBL token mint myself a token. I need to still specify what token, this one. There you go. And now I have a token. Look, I have a token. Woohoo! Cool. Okay. We finally got to the point after 2.5 hours where we can call our gate program through token ACL, and that works. But our program is still pretty minimal, and by minimal I mean literally it doesn't do shit. It doesn't do, like, it allows anyone to unfreeze permissionlessly. So if that's the custom functionality that you want, then you might as well not use token ACL at all, because it adds unnecessary overhead. But now we can finally implement all that custom functionality. Or first be like, test the negative case. Let's not say okay, but error with, what do we have? Account blocked. Let's just do error 2, why not? Account blocked, and rebuild, then redeploy. And now I need to create a new, let's do the create ATA and thaw permissionless for this mint and one of my Andy keys. Ha! Look at this. Look at this. This is the tool that we put in here, because now our program in the processing of the can thaw permissionless gives me that error. Again, if that was not the case and if that was okay and I rebuild and redeploy, then this same command should actually work. Let's see. Come on. Yeah, look at that. For that owner, here you go. Because the transaction calls the ATA to the associated token program to create the token account, and then the token ACL thaw permissionless, which in turn first creates this flag account with a 1 byte, assigns it to itself. It allocates 1 byte and assigns it to itself, and that flag is also given to the gate program. So I still think that the flag account is just something that we can check that it's actually coming from the gate and so on. But anyway, yeah. But the important thing here is that it calls my gate program, which succeeds with that configuration. And then the token ACL program allows the CPI into the token program for the thaw account, because it does have the freeze authority. Ha! Gay or great. And now to make this actually a useful example, I wanna at least, use those things. And I could do several things. I could either say only accounts that start with Andy get to unfreeze tokens, or I could say only token accounts that are owned by accounts starting with Andy get unfrozen. So basically, either I check the authority or I check the owner. What probably makes more sense is the owner, right? Or I could check both. I could be like, hey, you need to sign with a wallet that starts with Andy, and it must be owned by someone. But we have immutable owners anyway. I could also have the custom functionality that I don't require immutable owners. But for now I did. Anyway, so let's just check on the owner. Let's just say the owner must be starting with Andy, otherwise we don't allow the unfreeze, and we got stuck at the implementation here because we don't have a base 58 encoding of our pub key. But I think we can't do it through bytes the way how base 58 works, sadly. I can't just check the first few bytes, that's not how it works. So I will need to base 58 encode that. But we're doing this logging, so there must be, wait, we are doing this logging, right? Here, it should say, checking wallet. Oh no, look, it logs also just the bytes of that account, not the actual pub key, because logging the pub key is expensive. You don't want to do that. Okay, but I still want to do my example, so I'm just going to be inefficient. YOLO. I just need to somehow base 58 encode this. Let's try this actually, if I can import that. cargo at base 58. Would that work? Or would that throw me with the standard? I don't want standard. Change this with default features false. Then we don't have that and that. And then hopefully we can use this. There we go. We have an encode where we give the owner key. There we go. Yes, 58 address is this, and then we log that, checking the owner wallet. Probably need to string this first, yeah, into string, maybe that, and we have a string, and here the logger doesn't like string. Well, here you go. No, consider dereference. You sure? That just looks weird, but I'm gonna leave it here for now. And then let's do the actual check. No, first, let's see if that would actually work. First, does it build? No, it does not build. Ugh, method not found. Oh, maybe, hold on. Oh, probably because I also stole you the alloc feature. Okay, I'll give it back. Here, have the alloc feature again. Build it again. And then check if that works. Yeah, so, great, okay. Love it, love it, love it. Just need to give it the alloc again, such that you can do into string. And then you can do that weird. Let's actually deploy this just for the lols, and then create another for a random address. Who wants to get a token account? This gay guy wants to get a token account. Yeah, it works. Now I created a token account for the PDA of the mint config, but it doesn't matter. I just wanted to test if that actually works and if that actually has in the logs the correct wallet. Yeah, there we go. Ha! We're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. That's great. And now we just need to check the start of that string. Can't be so difficult anymore. Now we literally just check that it starts with Andy. Check if the owner address starts with Andy. So if the BS58, let's call it owner address, starts with the following pattern, ANDY, then everything is okay. But else, we're gonna error with account owner doesn't start with Andy. Owner must start with Andy. Owner address must start with Andy. I don't know. And can I even give this a specific 0x? This is not how hex works. AD. XAD. Yeah, custom error. Owner address must start with Andy. Good. And that's what we return. Nice. I would say that's my program. Let's build and deploy again. Oh no. What? Did I run out of money again? No. Deploy again. What? Invalid argument. Extend program requires a minimum of that many additional bytes. Oh, my program, the account is too small. That's what you're saying. So I need to Solana program extend or something like that. Wait, let me make space for this. Solana program extend program ID and additional bytes. Okay, extend. What's my program? My program ID is this thing. And how many more bytes? You said we need at least this many more additional bytes. I'm just gonna make it even more. Okay, but then we can deploy. Yes, that's looking better now. Can deploy. Yeah, send them, send them, send them, send them. Deployed! Our A-Gate program is in the newest version where it actually checks if the owner address starts with Andy. So, to the test. If we now create an ATA and thaw permissionless for any wallet that doesn't start with Andy, like Nandy. Love it. I wouldn't need the key for that, but I have it now anyway. Here, error. Processing instruction 1, custom program error 0xAD. That's our custom program error. Owner address must start with Andy. And if we give it an owner address that starts with Andy, then it actually works. There we go. Custom functionality. Such custom. So good. I mean, pretty useless, honestly. But it's more the idea that counts. The idea that I can do my own checks here and say, when is it okay that the token account gets permissionlessly thawed? And when is it not okay? And for me, it's only okay if the owner account actually starts with Andy. Then it's okay. Here, checking owner wallet. If that starts with Andy, then it allows the thaw account. Nice. So now this account is initialized and ready to receive tokens. And I can now say SBL token transfer 1 token of this mint to this wallet. And that actually works. And now this the Andy wallet has 1 token and can also spend it, right? Because it's initialized. I can say spend it or burn it or whatever, right? Solana config set Andy J could now SBL token, I don't know, burn half of those. Oh, that needs the token account. Okay, that's the token account. There you go. Nope, there you don't go. Oh, because I ain't got no balance. That's why I can't fee pay. Okay, hold on. Solana transfer to the Andy J 1 sol from the dev. Let's go. Okay, but now that we have 1 sol, we can burn those tokens. There you go. And suddenly, whoops, it's only 0.5. Because we have an initialized account that is not frozen. Because my owner is Andy. Nice. Good. Proof of concept. Done. This is one way how you can implement your own gate program and have custom functionality. And obviously you can do more sophisticated stuff here. You can of course also require more accounts. You know, in the TVL style, for now, we literally ignored the remaining accounts. Like we said, now we don't need any extra metas. We didn't request any. And then also here in the actual processing, we ignored all of the remaining accounts because we didn't need any, but we could add them. And maybe just as an exercise, you want to try that at home, or we're going to do it in the next video. But I've been playing around with this for a good 3 hours now, so I'll make a stop here. We have this proof of concept. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a more sophisticated example where we actually work with the extra metas as well and, you know, request certain accounts that we then work with. But for my super simple example, for my A gate where we just do the Thor permissionless, and that just works with the accounts that it already has. So that's the ones that we always get, the authority who is currently signing that, the token account itself, the mint, the owner, and the extra metas, which apparently we need. But I'm not even sure if we actually need that. Probably though. Probably we still actually need that though, because otherwise the token ACL program gets confused. But yeah, since we have that, might as well request remaining accounts like extra metas and then work with those. So that could be a good next video, just so we refresh how to work with TVL stuff and request additional accounts. But it's the same as it was when we did it with the transfer hook. Yeah, cool. I guess I'm alright with that. Yeah. I'm alright with that. It was actually more difficult than I thought to get the program to build and deploy and have it do my things. And I mostly got through it without vibe coding. I'm just so used to vibe coding. However, basically what I did is I stripped the program off and just used the parts that I wanted to use. I didn't build something nice. I just gave you the blueprint of how you could go about it if you want to do a custom gate program. And really what I wanted to communicate is that you can build and deploy your own gate program. You are not bound to the ABL gate program where there is the implementation of it already. You can use any functionality that you want with token access control. And I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, let me know if you want me to build something more difficult with this. If you have a concrete example what we should do, let me know in the comments, and if it's a good example, I will make a video about that. Otherwise, there's a bunch of videos that you can already watch. Give this one a like if you enjoyed it and you watched it all the way to here. Subscribe if you haven't done that already. And then I will see you in the next deep dive where we implement another thing or do more stuff with Solana, with or without tokens, with or without vibe coding. I still enjoy playing around with those things. It keeps my mind active because otherwise my monkey brain will just tell me, give it to an agent and it will just handle it for you, which is true. If you would give this to Claude Code, it could probably figure that out for you way faster than me. I took 3 hours, but at least I understand it now. And that's what I like about it. Good enough. And with that, I wish you a good night and I'll see you in the next one. Now you know how to create your own gate program without vibe coding. The gates are closed.